Queen's Park Rangers return to Championship action on Saturday afternoon with an away trip to Sheffield United. So in this match preview, I caught up with Nick from the Sheffield United Way podcast on their opening day victory against Preston, Carabao Cup joy against Wrexham on Tuesday evening, and whether Gus Hamer will remain a Blade by the end of the transfer window. As usual, I'll also be giving a few thoughts on QPR at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that, and if you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Hi Nick, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Are you happy the season is underway?
Very much so. Yes. After last season, it's just nice to be winning games, and we've started the season off with 2 wins, one in the league, one in the cup. So yeah, it's just nice not getting absolutely hammered by brilliant teams week in week out.
Yeah, I bet it's a big change, isn't it? Once you come down, and hopefully you're going to be looking forward to a season of winning, except for this Saturday. So let's talk about Preston first of all. 2-0 win did result in the Championship's first managerial vacancy as a result. What did you make of the performance overall?
I'll be honest. I thought we should have won by more goals, and that sounds a little bit over the top when you're going away from home. But Preston were really, really poor, in my opinion. I think they had a couple of half decent opportunities when we looked a little bit sloppy. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a hangover from last season, especially with the two of our centre backs being two of the centre backs that played most of last season. So there's going to be a few jitters, but no, we controlled the game from start to finish. And as a football fan and a football fan of not a team that has always been a really, really good team, you go away from home and you expect not to have it all your own way. And against Preston, we kind of did for the most part. I quite often watch United, and I'm thinking, oh, we've got 60, 70, 80% of the possession. And you look back and it's like 50-50. How's that even happened? But we certainly controlled the game from start to finish. We looked really kind of direct when we got the ball. We looked like we were breaking on teams. We certainly aren't blessed with pace, I wouldn't say, but we certainly looked a lot pacier than we have done in recent years, because we've Chris Wilder brought us through on this kind of pass and move style of football. We weren't a team that was going to constantly be on the break. We had to build our way forward and get those wide overloads going. But it seems like since we've started this rebuild this season, it looks like we're looking for very attack-minded players that like to be on the front foot, like to be pressing and breaking at will. So yeah, very, very good start to the season. Very comfortable win, I would say. And yeah, it just would have been nice if we'd have got 3 or 4. And that sounds like I'm bragging there, but it would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's really reassuring, isn't it, to start off with a win once you're back in the Championship, regardless of who you're playing against. It's just important to get off of the mark early. Now, I'll admit first that, I placed Sheffield United outside of the playoffs in my season predictions. However, the more I see the signings you're making, Cooper's going to be the next, I think, coming in from Plymouth, the more I'm starting to think that you're quietly putting together a side that will be capable of promotion. So what do you think of your summer business? And is there much more left to do?
Yes, it's looking like when this video goes out, they might have already signed, because it's looking like they are imminent. Both Michael Cooper, as you just said, and Raksaki, young lad from Palace, winger, lots of pace, very tricky, good dribbler of the ball, very skillful, scores goals as well. So that's two new players coming in. We needed that goalkeeper position locked down, because Adam Davies played the first game of the season. He shouldn't really be a Championship goalkeeper. Back up in the Championship, fine, but he shouldn't be a starter. Ivo Gerbic, who we signed last season, is one of the worst goalkeepers I've ever seen at Bramall Lane. He's yet to make a save that I don't think I could make, in all honesty. So it's nice to see us bringing in a goalkeeper with a very, very high ceiling, in my opinion. Plymouth fans have been raving about him for such a long time. And yeah, you can see that they're devastated that he's left. I think the business that we've actually done up until today, and obviously these 2 signings, has been very, very good. It started very slow because we brought in Sam McCallum and Jamie Shackleton, which now that the team is, or the squad has come together, I don't expect either of them to start. So the fact that those two came in first was a little bit worrying, to say that we'd let go so many players. I'm not sure exactly how many it was. I think it's around 15 that we let go in the end, or didn't choose to sign a new contract for whatever reason. So it's a lot of players that we had to bring in, and we brought in some real quality. Callum O'Hare already is one of my favourite players in the team. Kiefer Moore obviously comes with a good pedigree, got a lot of promotions under his belt. Harry Souttar, always been a fan of him. I don't know if he's going to play in this game against QPR, as we've still got Anel Ahmedhodzic, who's probably our best defender, arguably. Harrison Burrows from Peterborough, best player in League One last season. It's never a bad thing for the best player from the division low to come into a side that's got, I would say, a decent side. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of fans also put us quite low down. So you're not on your own there. It was always going to be whether we were going to get this rebuild right. And I think I'd like a couple more in, if I'm honest, because like I said, we've let a lot of players go. But the quality of the players that we're bringing in, certainly, it looks like a better side than the side that we got relegated with. So it's quite exciting going into the season, because I was expecting us not to get it right until the transfer window shutting, because our owner likes to do his business late because you get the best deals apparently. So it's nice to see that we've almost done all the business that we needed to do.
And what about the other way around? Are you expecting any outgoings before the window shuts? I know there's murmurs around Hamer. Do you think he'll still be a Blade come the end of the window?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do. Tentatively, I'm tentatively saying that because he's our best player in my opinion. He's fantastic. He didn't particularly have a good game against Preston, in all honesty. Lots of wayward passes, lots of poor crosses, and he'd missed a little bit of pre-season. I think he's just kind of getting into the grips with playing 90 minutes and stuff. I think he will stay, but I think that's just because I don't know if you've seen the release clause that he had has surpassed.
yeah, I did see
So
that.
I think that clubs could have got him for 17.5 million, and now we probably won, a lot more than that. So I think a lot of clubs would look at that and think, do you know what, we've missed the boat. We'll probably have to pay a lot more money. We probably shouldn't do that when we could have got him for a lot cheaper. I think Anel Ahmedhodzic will leave, in all honesty. And I know we've already got players lined up to replace him. So I'm fine with that. He was actually, we expected him to really do the step up well last season to the Premier League, and he was poor for large parts of it. He had purple patches at times when he looked, a player that should be playing in the Premier League. But he was the one that we could hang our hat on and say, he will be a Premier League player next season. And I think he just let a lot of us down and himself down last season. So we absolutely loved him in the season getting promoted. He played in that right centre-back role, marauding forward. In the Premier League, you can't do that or you get caught out. And I think the fact that he was central centre-back for most of the season, because John Egan was injured all season, I think that didn't really help him. And he was shown up in his defensive, or his lack of defensive qualities. So I think the players that we're looking at bringing in, or we have already brought in with Souttar as well, I think they'll be good enough for a promotion push anyway. And I think we'll probably get between 10 and 15 million, get an L for 10 and 15 million. So I think that'll be nice to put back in the pot for a rainy day.
Yeah, fair enough. And I saw yesterday it was what I think was an entirely changed 11 for the 4-2 win against Wrexham in the League Cup. So is that indicative of plenty of squad depth, or was this some talented youth being given opportunities?
Talented youth, I will say, because looking at the side, I'm used to Sheffield United putting out a weakened side in these cup competitions and getting beaten by lower tier teams. We've even been beaten in the past by Fylde. Who else have we been beaten by? lots of like non-league teams coming to Bramall Lane and beating us when when we were a championship team in the past. And when Chris Wilder put that side out last night, I was very, very worried. But I know we've got a lot of quality youngsters. We seem to always bring through really, really good young talent. And we've got a lot of young talent at the club, and they win a lot of trophies in the younger ages. But it's whether they can do that step up, and they showed it last night. Sidney Peck in the midfield was fantastic and came of age massively. And we've got a lot of other players of that sort of ilk that stepped up last night. A lot of squad players as well that I expected didn't expect too much from, and they stepped up as well. So it was really nice to see. We may have got a little bit lucky with that because I don't think any of us expected them to step up like they did. We're used to seeing Premier League teams put kids out and hammer us. We don't expect to see us put kids out and dismantle a team like Wrexham, because at the end of the day, they're full of confidence. And we know that only too well from 2 seasons ago when they gave us 2 really, really good games in the cup. So it was nice to see us put the kids out, and yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. And we've talked about promotion a couple of times so far. What are your expectations for the season overall? Is promotion at the first time of asking the goal? Do you think that's possible?
It's still a tough one. I think it's possible. I think Burnley showed that Luton can be taken apart as they did. I know Burnley are going to be strong this season. Leeds, despite them not being able to beat Portsmouth on the first game of the season, Leeds will be strong. Luton will still be strong, but I think Luton's licking their wounds at the moment after that, especially at home. So I think it's there, not exactly there for the taking, but I think it's there to be gone for. I'm just not sure whether the strength in depth is strong enough. I think we've got it. It's a bit of a myth that we don't have the strength and depth because we're looking like we're going to have that. I'm just not 100% sure whether if the injuries come, which they quite likely do for Sheffield United, especially in the last few years, whether we can handle that. So it's remained to be seen. I think we can go up. I think we'll finish in the top 6 at least, especially now with the players that we've brought in. I'm not sure about top 2 yet. You'll have to come back to me in a few weeks' time.
Well, we'll get you on for the return leg preview and see where we're at. Our last meeting at Bramall Lane was in October 22, so that was obviously the season you guys went up. It was QPR's first away win at Bramall Lane since 2010, courtesy of a Chris Willock goal. I wasn't confident of that win going in, but we got it. So to finish off, let's get your score prediction for Saturday.
No problem. I can't even remember that game in all honesty because we lost a few home games it was the opposite of a purple patch. So it's probably one that I've pushed out of my brain a little bit. But for this game, I'm gonna go for a 3-1 Blades win. Apologies for that. I think that we'll be really strong. I think we're really strong. And you know what? I'm missing this game because it's my sister's wedding on Saturday. Devastated. First home game of the season, missing it.
That guarantees it's going to be a thriller then.
Humdinger. Yeah, the last home game I missed was against Fulham the season before we got before we got promoted, and I think it ended up being 5-4. So yeah, let's hope there's not one of those. But I do think we will win, and I think it will be comfortable-ish. But obviously, I'm going to say that, and I'm sure you're going to have a different opinion.
No, I have the same opinion actually. It's a really tough opening month for QPR. Obviously, we had West Brom last weekend. We've got Luton at the end of the month, and of course Sheffield United on Saturday. I just think the quality in that squad's going to be a little bit too much for us. We have made a couple of good signings this week. We've got Karamoko Dembélé, who's just come in. I think he's going to feature on Saturday. It's a really exciting one for us, and he should give us a bit more of an attacking impetus. But we're still kind of gelling at the moment. We saw that in the cup yesterday. We're still kind of rough around the edges, and I like to think, we put out a pretty strong team yesterday. They obviously wanted to make things right, so I like to think we'll go up another level. But I do think Sheffield United might have just a bit too much for us at this point. So yeah, I'll probably agree with a Sheffield United win.
Okay, I
Well,
like to hear that.
Well, thank you so much for joining. And yeah, good luck for Saturday and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you so much to Nick for joining for this match preview, and make sure to check out the Sheffield United Way podcast in the link in the description below. Now, there's no doubting that this is a really tough fixture for QPR in our second match of the Championship season. I said to Nick that I thought that Sheffield United were a real unknown quantity going into this season, but with every other signing, I think they've put together a really sensible squad that is going to be right up there come the end of the season. Obviously, we can't read too much into that 2-0 win against Preston last Friday, a side that have now lost 6 consecutive championship matches since the end of last season, and of course kicked out manager Ryan Lowe before the first round of championship fixtures was even done. Nor can we read into their 4-2 win over Wrexham in the cup, given that they put a youth team out. But it really does just go back to the quality of those signings this summer. Kiefer Moore, Harrison Burrows, Callum O'Hare, now Michael Cooper. And that's all without mentioning the existing talent of Gus Hamer, probably the best player in the league, at least for now. If we hadn't done any business this week, I would be very, very worried. But in Koki Saito and Karamoko Dembélé, there is hope. To what extent they'll be involved on Saturday is another question, but Dembélé was warming up on the pitch straight after the final whistle at Cambridge, so that gives some promise that he may feature in some way. There is a question about whether he sticks with Sella up front. Obviously, it's only been one league game, so it would feel very harsh to take him out of the starting lineup. But Mickey Frey did get himself in and about on Tuesday night. I should imagine Jonathan Varane will come in for his first league start after featuring on Tuesday evening, though alongside who is another question, given that Samfield still looked pretty rusty in that game. Ultimately, if we manage to tidy up some of the sloppiness we've seen in the last 2 matches and pose more of an attacking threat, there's no reason why we can't really take this game to Sheffield United. But stand off them in the way that we did West Brom and make as many defensive errors as we did in that match, and we will be punished. So, prediction time. I was wildly off the mark with my 0-0 shout for West Brom, but I did get Cambridge United bang on with a 2-1 win. So I'm going 2-1 again, but sadly for Sheffield United, with Karamoko Dembélé to get his first goal in his first match for QPR. Let me know your own predictions in the video below, and if you're not already a subscriber, please do hit like and subscribe. It really helps me to build this channel up. Tomorrow I will be posting a transfer deep dive on Koki Saito, so make sure you keep an eye out for that one. And I'll see you in the video after that for my Sheffield United post-match reaction. Come on, you Oz.